Well, hi, everyone. I'm Rusty Dunn here with Caterpillar's Chief Financial Officer, Andrew Bonfield, talking about the company's third quarter 2025 financial results. Andrew, great to see you again.
Good to see you, Rusty.
Well, Andrew, before we get into the numbers, I know you always like to express a lot of appreciation for so many people across the company doing the hard work.
Yes, and again, another strong quarter, Rusty, from a top-line perspective and also from an adjusted operating margin perspective. We actually performed better than we expected in what was quite a fluid situation, as you can imagine.
Well, a strong quarter, Andrew. Let's get into some of the specifics there in terms of how we performed.
Yes, so sales and revenues were up 10% to $17.6 billion. That is a record for the quarter for the Caterpillar perspective. So really strong top-line performance. Adjusted operating margins of 17.5% versus 20% last year. Profit per share of $4.88. Adjusted profit per share of $4.95. So again, despite the fact that we did face the headwind of incremental tariffs impacting our manufacturing costs and still some lower price, still that coming through this quarter, we did see the benefit of higher volumes partially offsetting that. So overall, really good performance overall in the circumstances.
As you mentioned, challenges there, but there were some real performance highlights to point to in this quarter. What would you look at?
Yeah, well, I think really the higher sales volume across all three primary segments. And in markets where not every market is growing, we actually did see all three segments show higher end user sales, which is really, really important. That shows the demand is underlying there for our product. And that helped drive the higher volume. So again, really good performance across the segment.
You mentioned it, higher end user sales. What's behind that? What do we see in those numbers there?
So obviously, there's very strong demand out there, particularly in power generation, as you can imagine, in the current environment. But there's also a lot of infrastructure spending still going on, and that's benefiting both construction industries and resource industries as well.
And it's always interesting as you read our release, breaking it down segment by segment. Walk us through the highlights there in terms of how the business segments did on their own.
Yeah, so all three segments actually grew sales and revenues for the quarter. So CI sales grew by 7%, resource industries sales grew by 2%, and really the highlight now was energy and transportation, which grew 17% to $8.4 billion. So by some way, and now our largest segment from a top-line perspective. On the profit side, CI and RI both saw profit declines. CI's profit was down 7%, RI's profit was down 19%. Effectively, the impact of higher manufacturing costs, principally tariffs, and the impact of lower price being partially offset by higher sales volume for both of those segments. In energy and transportation, actually profit grew by 17% to $1.7 billion, despite the impact of tariffs. We did see favorable price and much stronger sales volume in that segment, which drove the results.
Which leads us then to asking about the balance sheet, cash deployment, where we sit there.
Yeah, again, another strong quarter from a free cash flow perspective. We generated $3.2 billion of free cash flow in the quarter. We deployed about $1.1 billion to shareholders, $700 million of dividends, and about $400 million of share repurchases. And at the same time, we ended with a very strong cash position of $7.5 billion, as well as having another $1.2 billion in slightly longer dated marketable securities.
Well, as we wrap up the numbers piece of this, Andrew, always interested in asking you, as the company looks ahead and how we plan ahead, getting through the rest of this year into next year and navigating some of the challenging macroeconomic conditions, the environment out there.
The underlying business remains very strong. So if you saw backlog actually grew now to a record just under $40 billion at $39.8 billion. That's an all-time record. That shows the strength of the end markets we have out there. Obviously, our balance sheet remains strong. Our customers' financial health remains strong. So it's maintaining that discipline and actually keeping focus on actually helping customers solve their problems, which is really what we're focused on. And that's actually going to keep us in the best position possible from a results perspective.
So as a sort of final thought regarding the numbers, what's your message to employees in finishing out?
Keep focused, keep the eye on making sure we deliver in the final quarter in line with our commitments. Make sure we keep that focus on long-term profitable growth.
Well, we always look forward in terms of going beyond the numbers. You get out and try to see what's happening out there in our Caterpillar facilities around the world and our operations. This time, Caterpillar Reman, and what a story when we talk about Cat Remanufacturing. We've been at it for a long time. We're very good at it. We'll talk a little bit about it on the other side, but let's watch.
Hello everyone. Today I'm in Corinth, Mississippi at our remanufacturing facility where I'm joined by Brian Edwards, our Senior Vice President of Reman. Brian, can you tell me what happens here in Corinth?
Let me tell you a little bit about our story. When Caterpillar started remanufacturing 52 years ago in Bettendorf, Iowa, over the last 50 plus years, that has migrated into thousands of solutions focused on our Cat Yellow products. We've got this really a world-class operation here where people focused on safety and efficiency. So as we think about what we do for bringing products back to life in this particular business and creating customer value, it all starts here.
All part of our promise of building to rebuild, and remanufacturing is a key part of that because it's part of the circular economy. Can we go and take a look around?
Oh, absolutely. Look forward to it. Let's go in.
Okay, thank you. Brian, maybe you can explain why remanufacturing is so important to our customers. What's the value for them in that process?
With remanufacturing, we're reusing, extending the life of products, and then delivering these products with the same as new warranty and like new performance at a fraction of the price of new. So it creates a perfect story for the customer.
All part of lowest total cost of ownership, effectively helping them with their sustainability goals that they have, and at the same time giving them a nearly new quality replacement product for what they've actually put back into Reman.
Absolutely. At a fraction of the price of new. So, I mean, it's just a great story.
So Brian, that looks like a well-worn engine. Is that what you mean by a core?
Absolutely. And what's interesting is, yeah, that's a large engine core. This is the disassembly area where we bring core in. And we basically disassemble these parts. They lose their identity.
What happens from here? So they're obviously disassembling it. What happens after that?
After the disassembly process, the parts then are sent over to the salt bath where we do cleaning, and then there are several processes that prepare them to be inspected even further, and then we start the process of building these products back up. Once some of our products get through disassembly and some of the cleaning that you see, we start with figuring out which one is the most critical reclaim process that we should use. That's where the true art and science of Reman comes into play with making these products exactly how we intended them when we designed them so that they perform like they're new. Because our ultimate end game is how many more life cycles can we prevent? Andrew, thank you for taking the time today to spend walking through some of these processes with us. It's been a pleasure.
Brian, I really appreciate the time you spent today. Now I have a better understanding of what the remanufacturing process is and some of the processes and some of the complexity you go through and actually how it helps our customers be more successful. Really appreciate your time again today. Thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
Indeed.
Thank you.
Great conversation and tour with Brian at Cat Reman in Corinth. What a value story, a great sustainability story. Love talking about Caterpillar Reman.
Yeah, and it's a great way of actually giving value back to customers. Remember, the mantra and part of the brand promise is built to be rebuilt, and Reman is the real element of that where you really see that in action.
Thanks for bringing us that. Andrew, great to see you again.
Good to see you, Rusty.
Thanks to all of you for watching. Have a great day.